Welcome riding buddies. My video this week is going to do a little bit of a comparison of a couple of videos we've already done. We're going to cover the 81 CR125 compared to the 98 CR125 that we did. If you haven't watched these videos, duck back through my library and have a look. There's a couple of great little videos there on two beautiful bikes. And of course, we had one specific rider who went out and had a ride on these bikes for us and did a bit of evaluation. And of course that was our test rider, Ding. This is not going to be a shootout between the two bikes. You can't do that, they are so different, completely different eras. But what I want to do is just see how the bikes evolved over 17 years of technology. Both these bikes were revolutionary for Honda in their eras, but for very different reasons. The radiators on the very first CR125 water-cooled were very high compared to the 98 and any modern bike, but at least compared to other makes of that era, they were in the correct spot. Massive changes in braking technology over the 17 years, from twin drum brakes to twin disc brakes. Even though the rear suspension was very different between the two bikes, you can actually see so much commonality between them. The front suspension is obviously very different, with the 81 with the conventional right way up forks. Somewhere along the line, the engineers at Honda got it all mixed up and put them on upside down. The development and frame technology from 1981 to 1998 is massive. You've gone from a chrome moly steel frame to an aluminium frame. You've got a detachable subframe for easy access to airboxes and rear suspension components. Both engines are very compact, small units. The 1981 having a revalve induction, water cooling, but as far as the technology goes, that's pretty much as far as it went. The 98 model, of course, having a power valve unit fitted, and a case reed induction engine, is a much more sophisticated engine. So we're going to have a little talk with Ding, the man who was kicked out of the blood bank because his octane rating was too high. So Ding, which out of the two bikes did you enjoy the most? Actually really enjoyed both bikes, but for very different reasons. The 81 for the nostalgia of such an old bike and where it came from, but also too the 98 with the sophistication of more of a modern bike. How did the two bikes feel? They're completely different eras, but how did they feel underneath you compared to each other with 17 years of development? The feel of both bikes is day and night. Everything about them is so different. The body position on the bike, where the bars are situated, everything about the whole thing is different. What were the brakes like between the two bikes? Obviously you've got a lot of difference, the 81 having twin drum brakes and the 98 having twin discs. How did that compare? The brakes on the 81 would have been okay for the era and did pull the bike up okay, but the brakes on the 98 model were absolutely unbelievably powerful. So obviously over 17 years there's got to be some engine development. Both engines are water cooled, one without a power valve, of course the 81, and the 98 with the power valve engine. How much of a difference did that make to the feel of the engine? The 81 engine was extremely peaky, nothing much below about 10,000 RPM. The 98 engine actually pulled quite well. Both bikes overall, this is going to be a tough one. Compared to today's bikes, what's your evaluation there?
Compared to a modern 125, the 81 is extremely peaky. It is a little bit on the heavier side as well, but the overall ergonomics of it are nothing comparable with a modern bike. The 98 bike, on the other hand, actually does feel very similar to a modern 125. The brakes are amazingly powerful. The overall feel of the bike does feel very familiar.
Between the two bikes, which was your actual favourite bike that you would love to actually take out and race?
In a modern race, I would have to use the 98. It feels like a modern bike, it performs like a modern bike. But also too, if I had a choice to go and race some vintage stuff, I would really love to race the 81 CR as well.
So that's just been a little bit of a comparison between the 81 CR125 and the 98 CR125. Just to see the evolution of technology over 17 years, it's quite a big difference. Also too, we had a bit of a look at the more modern bikes as well, and got Ding's version of how things changed and evolved over the years. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. We've got a lot of other stuff in the pipeline, hopefully coming along. Also to check out my previous videos. If you haven't seen the video on the 81 CR125 and the 98 CR125, just go back through the library, have a look at them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on the next time.